Well, now that we have some basic ideas about using a database and querying a database and setting up relations in the database, well, that is, if you've been watching the previous videos in this series, now we're going to start talking about making something of that data useful. Forms and reports would be a good way to see the data neatly. And there are 3 methods I'm going to show you about. This is the first method, the automatic method. Let's distinguish between data and information. If you just write down some stuff, and I wrote down some things there, that's data. But if you attach meaning to it, then it becomes information. If you remember from your math class, if you walked 2 blocks north and 3 blocks east, how far did you walk? And you never wrote down 5, you always wrote 5 blocks because that turned data into information. Well, let me show you here. Here's some information. We have a client number and a client name and a street, but it's not very pretty to look at. So what we'll learn now is ways to make it prettier to look at. 2 of the objects that Access offers, they're called objects, don't worry about it, are called forms and reports. They help you have a better format, a nicer format to your information there, your data. A form is to look at or use on the screen, and a report is to look at or use on paper. That's the only difference. They probably look different when they're done, but that's the only difference. Forms and reports. Form on the screen, report on paper. Let's go look at some examples of how we'll get to it. We'll click on the Create tab, and then I circled the 2 buttons that you would use to create an automatic form or an automatic report. We'll go then to Access and make them very quickly. You remember that you start up on that Create tab, okay? I'll click Create. Well, first of all, I need to click on either table that I want. I have a client table and a recruiter table. So I'll click Client Table, and then Create tab, and then click Form. Boom, that's it. Done. When I close it, which is way over here, strangely, way on the right-hand side, there's a little X. Look, do you see it? Tricky, isn't it? When I click the X to close it, it will say, do you want to save it? And I'll say yes. I'll call it Client Form. It's always good to put what kind of object it is. And now if you look over here on the left-hand side, you'll see that we have not only tables and queries, but forms. Okay, we'll do the same thing with a report. Let's make a report off the recruiter table. We'll click Recruiter, click Create, and go over to that plain report button, and boom, it's done for us. Is it pretty? No, but this is the automatic version. You can make changes to this really very easily. It's just not part of this video set. You can work on that out of your book. But that's how you make the automatic forms and reports.